Hi everyone, welcome. Sorry for the delay in starting. As you know, virtual events, some of the things are beyond our control and we had to try and solve them this morning. Welcome to the virtual launch of the Meet Differently campaign by Place Borneo. My name is Mona, I'm the CEO, or the current CEO. I don't know if yes, I'm going to have another one soon, of Place Borneo, and I will be your host for today. As you would have guessed, a virtual launch would be slightly different from how we do things. So let's look at the video. Oops. When you didn't go in this video. Never mind, then go back to me. I will talk again.
Malaysia has announced a 2-week nationwide lockdown.
All mass gatherings will be cancelled or postponed until April the 30th because of the COVID-19 outbreak.
Just stay at home.
There is hope after despair and many suns after darkness.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Gardenscape Sarawak Virtual Workshop 2021.
Let's meet outside the box. Change where and how you meet. Be responsible. Choose sustainable F&B options. Enjoy the best of Sarawak cuisine. Create smaller and more intimate gatherings for your peace of mind and a safe event. Expand your reach globally with a digital or hybrid event. Craft your meeting in the great outdoors and enjoy a one-of-a-kind nature experience. Be picky with hygiene, health, and safety because you deserve it. Your comfort and safety will always be our priority. It's time to meet differently.
Yep, that was a launch video that we had. So like I said, virtual launches will be different from a physical launch. You won't have confettis or any launch gimmick. You're not going to be hitting the gong or unveiling anything. So, but what we're going to do today is we're going to talk a bit more about this Meet Differently campaign. What is it all about and why do we need to meet differently? And we've got a few very notable speakers and a guest of honor that will share it. Be meeting differently. Before that, I'd just like to highlight in the video you saw, we have to meet outside the box. This is just thinking about your venues. How different can they be? It can be in the outdoors. And that brings us to the next one, nature calls. We've always confined ourselves to the four walls. Why don't we meet outdoors? It's safer, it's open air, there's no crowd. Drink responsibly. Nowadays, it's a sustainable event trend, and also it is actually better for the local community when you actually source locally. The next one is treat a crowd. Right now, with the SOP, you need to keep your crowd small. We don't have to have a large meeting. And last but not least, and what we're doing today is go or go home. You have to pick it up. You have to go hybrid or you have to go virtual because that's the way to go for business events. We have to keep this going. To keep going. So this is how we need to adapt. Before that, I've got a special item I will show to you guys. So this is a free giveaway that we're gonna have today. It is a special edition collapsible coffee mug, and this is going to be given to those who ask questions. Later on, we'll have the Tuesday Talk Live special edition, and to those who ask questions or comments, you're gonna get a free mug. So there's a limited number of this, but for media, most of the media are on Zoom, but if you're also on Facebook, each media will get one, no questions asked. So let yourself be known. So as you can see, this is a collapsible one. You can collapse it into a smaller size and can bring it for traveling. All right. Now, why is it important for us to meet differently, and what is it in for Sarawak? I've got a very important message that I'd like to share with you. Is actually from our Yang Berhormat Datuk Haji Abdul Karim Rahman Hamzah, Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture and Minister of Youth and Sports, Sarawak. Let's listen to what he has got to say.
Hello everyone, to the live viewers, Place Borneo Sdn Bhd, media partners and industry friends. Thank you for having me here for the visual launch of the Meet Differently campaign by Place Borneo. First of all, I hope everyone is staying safe and staying healthy in our fight to flatten the curve during this pandemic. What a great video on meeting differently and creating unique events. My heartiest congratulations to the team at Place Borneo for creating this campaign. Now we can see that there is a need to regulate the nature, format and size of an event for everyone's safety and peace of mind in this post-COVID world that we live in. Hence, the need to meet differently. I've seen that more and more events have adopted virtual platforms in the last year, and digital events are important to have to propel us forward. In the future, I firmly believe that hybrid events, a combination of both virtual and physical with strict SOPs, are the way to go forward, as it gives the best of both worlds, and attendees from all over the world can have a choice to attend physically or virtually. Allow me to give you a snapshot of Sarawak's 2020 performance figures. In the year 2020 alone, Sarawak secured an estimated total economic impact of Ringgit Malaysia 293.27 million, and expected direct delegate expenditure of Ringgit Malaysia 159.38 million from 80 secured events to take place from now until the year 2026. From these figures, Ringgit Malaysia 17.59 million of the total tax revenue is expected to generate at least 23,276 job placements for Sarawakians in the years that the respective events are to be held. While we live in a time where uncertainties reign, our business and travel outlook, these figures prove that Sarawak is still a destination of choice for business, event planners. What we must do now is to progress with the demand of the industry. Without a doubt, hosting meetings and events in a world affected by COVID-19 requires us to make major changes and adjustments. With new measures, there will always be uncertainties, We need to mitigate uncertainties among travelers and event participants with industry-friendly policies and guidelines. Destination hosts, event planners, and travel organizers need to assure the public, and this can be done through friendly refund policies, customized travel insurance, and more. We must remember to instill confidence in attendees through clear and transparent information and communication. Via campaigns like Meet Differently, we can communicate directly on the state, readiness and measures related to health, hygiene and measures and safety that we will take to boost delegates' confidence and attendance. The state government is always ready to help in giving out information on best practices and guidelines for venues, event planners to undertake when crafting their events going forward. For business events planners, strengthen your collaboration with Business Events Sarawak. With an internationally recognized marketing campaign known as Tribe Legacy Sarawak, the Bureau is welcoming industry players to further generate ideas and discussions on what can be done to mitigate and craft a worthwhile experience for creating new best practices and guidelines to serve as the norm in events planning, and we must welcome it. Remember that change is always constant, and change will drive us toward a better future. I applaud Place Borneo for crafting the Meet Differently campaign and thinking outside of the box. I look forward to seeing more of what Place Borneo, as well as other industry players, have to offer. Thank you.
Thank you, YB Karim. He couldn't be with us today in person, but he thought it was really important for you to actually listen to himself, coming from himself, but why we need to adapt and meet differently. So for you guys out there, if you're an organizer, if you're an association, then you can actually reach out to us and we can discuss. Let's collaborate on how we can do it differently and keep the industry going. Now, as you can see beside me, we've got a few very notable speakers with us today. I'd like to welcome our guest of honor, Mr. Hee Chang-Kee, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture. Also here with us is Madam Gracie Jiki, our big boss. It's our big boss in Place Borneo. She is the Principal Consultant of Place Borneo. Next one is Ms. Amelia Rosiman, Acting CEO of the BE Sarawak, or Business Events Sarawak, or used to be known as the Sarawak Convention Bureau, for those of you who don't know. We've got here as well Datin Donna Drury Wee, no more with her blue hair, but soon will be a new hair color, I guess. President of the Sarawak Society of the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, SSPCA. And here with us also is Premala Danapakyam, the Director of Sales and Marketing of Borneo Convention Center, Kuching, BCCK. And last but not least, I saved the best for last, is Mr. Fadil Muhammad Fadil Abdullah, GM of Damai Beach Resort, all the way from Santubong. Welcome, guys, and thank you for joining us today. Now, we're going to go on into a Tuesday Talk Live later on, a bit later. Before that, I'd like just a bit of input from some of our key speakers, especially from those in the industry. And I'd like to start with our big boss, Madam Gracie. If not, she'll scold me, so I have to give her first. Madam Gracie, what is this whole Meet Differently about? Can you just give us a few summarized points on that?
Thank you, Mona. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. First and foremost, I would like to thank our Yang Berhormat Dato Haji Abdul Karim, our minister, for delivering his message. I think it's really, for us in the industry, it's really good to know that we have the Sarawak government really full swing into business events, coming to to all of us, reaching out, what can we do, and I'm really proud of that. And it's also good to know that Sarawak, we are so blessed with opportunities for us to market and promote our mice business differently. So this campaign, I would say, is to reach out to test ourselves, to bring out what other ways we can do, instead of saying, oh no, we can't handle big crowds. This is not happening in view of the current situation, as you know. So these pillars, the 6 pillars of thinking out of the box, is like, think, go outdoors, look at the outdoors, the facilities that we have that are outdoors, uh, trees, a crowd where you see. So we're looking at niche events, unique venues that can cater. As you could see from the video, we were in Mulu, beautiful gem in the jungle, where unique, beautiful 5-star resort, the Marriott, the Mulu Marriott. So we want to know, that we want our clients and delegates and organizers to know that come to Sarawak, it's not just about one place. We have a variety of venues. We have all these unique attractions that we can package into all the meetings and the MICE events. So really, be picky, you deserve it, because I think Sarawak, I must add, as a second tier destination, gives us that, how would I call that, little opportunity, because being second tier means we are not too dense. And I think right now that's the new norm, where people will not rush to big, crowded and very dense venues. So I think we are very fortunate. Sarawak has got, we've got huge, from Kuching, Sibu, Bintulu, Miri. We have every other options to choose from. So I'm very happy that we have this campaign. This is just the beginning, and also to let everyone know, the video was done. Datin Donna kindly agreed to be our model to Mulu. And we did this with the help of our venue, BCCK, Damai Beach, the Mulu Marriott. We did this on our own. We just wanted to show that we are able to do it. We're not going to say, oh, we can't do it because of this and that. So this is just the beginning of the campaign. Of course, it's going to be fine-tuned. We're going to come up with MICE initiatives, if you call it events, so that we are able to attract the regional business, if not international yet, and that we have all these options available. So once again, thank you very much to everyone, and that's all from me, Mona. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Right, so we're gonna go a bit further up in the rankings, and we're gonna take a view from an agency, part of the government. So this is from the Sarawak Convention Bureau, or BE Sarawak, and I'd like to invite Miss Emilia to give her points on how they are supporting the industry on doing things differently, or just reviving the industry itself. Madam Emilia.
Hi, Mona. Hi, Mona. Good morning. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. How are you? Well, good morning to Mr. He, all of the panelists, and all of the virtual audience out there. On behalf of PE Sarawak, we are very pleased with the outstanding initiative made by Place Borneo. In light of this year's pandemic, there is now a need for meeting and event planners, destination venues, and industry players to embrace the new norm by reinventing their business, embedding new skills, and forming new creative partnerships in order to become stronger and more resilient against adversities. As such, it is highly important to create unique ways to meet and congregate, while still ensuring strict hygiene and safety protocols, and to craft unique meetings in ways, to meet differently, as what, Mona and Gracie says. We must invest in our future, create new promotion and angles to draw in more business events to anticipate when the market bounce back, and we in Sarawak should be at the forefront when it does. So, speaking of investing in our future, I want everyone to watch this space as we will revamping our existing incentivized packages, and there will be a new addition to package for local events known as Tribe Homegrown. So I'm very excited about it. And I also urge that industry to invest in the time to learn and relearn via our virtual learning and business lead generation platform, Tribe Digital Campus. And we have continued also our subsidized program for our industry partner who wish to be accredited internationally. So with this, we hope to collaborate with more partnership with the industry partners, just like how we did with Place Borneo. And again, I would like to conclude my speech by congratulating Place Borneo, led by Madam Gracie, Mona, and their dynamic team. Well done. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amelia. Yeah, the only thing I heard was a new incentive package, and I think that's the most interesting thing that everyone is waiting for. So yeah, thanks for that, and we can't wait to see what's happening and what's going to happen with the new incentive package. And to all the industry players out there, watch out for that one and make sure you're ready to apply for that. Now, thanks, Amelia. Yeah, going a step up. From the government's point of view, from the ministry, I'd like to invite Mr. Hee Chang-Hee as the Permanent Secretary of our Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture on what the government has in store for us, industry players. What can we expect, especially during these difficult times and for us to recover? Mr. Hee?
Good morning. Yeah, first of all, I think congratulations to Place Borneo. I think for your launching of how to meet differently. This is really very interesting and very excited. I think the pandemic, of course, has caused a lot of disruptions. But I think just like any crisis, we have to see what opportunities behind the crisis. And we just have to adapt to new normal. So I think now we are used to virtual platforms since the MCO started in March last year in Sarawak. So we're zooming here and zooming there. And that virtual platform has just become the norm of the day. Now, Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture Sarawak will be working very closely through Sarawak Convention Bureau. So I think there are a few things that we must put in place. The first thing is we must instill confidence in the industry and also the visitors. So that's why in order to meet differently, we will make sure that they are in place with all the SOPs and guidelines to ensure a safety, to ensure some form of social distancing and some guidelines and ethics in meeting. So that will actually facilitate how we meet differently. And next thing, I think Sarawak need to sustain our visibility. No doubt people cannot travel, but I think through a lot of social media, through a lot of digital advertising, we are still sustaining Sarawak's visibility to tell people that, hey, Sarawak is still here, right? We will welcome everybody back after the pandemic, but rest assured, we still continue to meet differently, very creatively, like what has been presented by Place Borneo. And the government will, of course, during this difficult time, we will continue to support our industry. Just for example, for tourism sector, we have launched our Sia Sito campaign to allow people, to encourage people to travel domestically, giving incentives to tour agents, to the handlers, to continue to build out this tourism sector. Now, for business events, I think Amelia have given a clue just now. So we will be looking at some incentives to continue to encourage the local business event planners to plan and organize events locally, of course, as we always say, with watchful eyes over all the necessary SOPs and guidelines. We can't expect delegates from outside of Sarawak, even West Malaysia for this moment, but we should also continue to organize hybrid events, meaning local events, local seminars, local business events in Sarawak. But of course, we can always engage with people from outside Sarawak through a hybrid function. So government will be looking at all those incentives to encourage business events to continue, even during the restricted moment at this difficult time. So I'll think that Sarawak government will continue with what we have mentioned just now to encourage and to sustain the industry from organizing. Of course, it's a much scaled down business events, but life goes on and we should continue. I think we also have made known that like things like festivals like the Rainforest Room Musical Festival, the Miri Jays, we will still sustain our visibility through some form of scaled down virtual events. So that's the way forward. We have to think creatively how to continue with business events in a creative manner, how to meet differently. I think as what has been coined by Place Borneo, it's a very creative and impressive way. So congratulations again, once again for your launching. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. He. I'd like to point out what Mr. He said, which I really resonate with. And we have to keep the branding going. We can't just keep quiet and not do anything right now. So if you have to go virtual, if you have to go hybrid, by all means do it. And as you've heard from Emilia, they're going to have a new incentive for local events with local attendees. So no problems with that. And we have to collaborate. That means the venue needs to do their part. The PCOs need to do their part. The DMCs, everyone, the organizers, the association. All right. So thank you for all the input from Emilia, Mr. Shanki, and our boss, Madam Gracie GT. Right now, we're going to go into a very special session. It's called the Tuesday Talk Live Special Edition. And we're going to chit chat with all the other speakers. They've been sitting there quietly. So we're going to get them to say a few words and we're going to listen to their voices now. And we're going to chat on how they are getting ready differently. So they're from different backgrounds, as I've introduced earlier. And but the difference between the usual Tuesday Talk Live and this one is going to be moderated by the big boss herself, Madam Gracie Jiki. So I'm just going to lay low and just keep quiet and quiet, sit here lah, okay? All right, so we're going to go on to the Tuesday Talk Live and I'm going to hand it over to Madam Gracie.
Thank you, Mona. It looks like I'm working very hard now. I have to work. Thank you very much. Today we're just going to spend a few minutes. We have here, as you can see, we have the venue provider, convention center. We have the accommodation, and unfortunately we couldn't have the GM from Mulu, but we have with us and Datin Donna from representing the association. They've been very active as an NGO to create events and to even bid for international conferences. So I may want to go around the table with you guys. What will you, as an association, as a convention center, as an accommodation, what will you be doing differently in your own areas? How are we together, and how will you support the future business events that will come for Sarawak? As mentioned earlier, they may be smaller, they may be more niche, but individually, what have you got in mind? Maybe I'll start with Datin Donna. How's that? A few words from the association's perspective. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, Gracie. Thank you for inviting me, Place Borneo, and congratulations again on your launch. I think the experience that we had in Mulu back in the sort of deep set in the jungle shows that virtual can be done. You might have to go in a roundabout way to ensure that your data line and all that is stable. So from SSPCA point of view, we're actually working on an international conference this year because it's actually the year that we're part of the Asia for Animals Coalition. And this year is actually the year that they're supposed to hold their biennial conference. So of course, that has to be postponed till next year. But as you say, Mona, to keep the brand name going, so Asia for Animals is going to do a virtual conference this year. We're aiming for Q2. Cost-wise, of course, there are savings, but then, of course, you have to spend more on your ensuring that your, like I said, the data platform and all that is stable. So it's actually still cost-wise, Mr. He and Amelia, is about 50% of what a physical conference would be, because you have to get all the different types of platforms in. But like you said, it's, I mean, this is the largest gathering of animal welfare organizations in Asia. And we actually hosted it in Kuching in 2015 which was helped by SCB, as it was in those days, STB, and also Place Borneo was our PCO. So this year, their theme from AFA will be For a Better Tomorrow Together. It's basically just bridging the gap between the physical conferences, because they're still planning to have the physical conference moved to next year. So this is just, as you say, just to make sure that you're still
there.
Yeah, still visible and updating the sort of international partners about what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you, Datin. I think like what Mr. He just said, you've got to keep your presence, however small, scaled down, but at least we're there. We don't want Sarawak to be forgotten as well. So that's really good as an association, NGO, making the effort, and I'm sure other associations out there will be also needing to think how they can continue.
For meeting differently. I love your video. I think it actually illustrates what we have to offer as well, given our challenging times. For us, from a center's perspective, we're always committed to the safety of our delegates and our team members. That is the utmost priority for us. So whoever comes and walks through the center, it's always about making sure that it's a safe environment. We can have successful events, and basically they leave rest assured, without having to worry. So that is our priority, whether it's a physical event or a hybrid event or even a virtual event. So we're open to all options with the new norms in mind. So that's the focus for the next 1 to 2 years, depending on how everything works. Obviously, we'd love to have 5,000 people coming through the center again as we did, but given our limitations, we're adhering to SOPs that are set by the state government. Thank you to the state government as well for always being so proactive. Whatever happens, we get first news first, we react to them. And then we do our best to make sure that we make business events a success, whether it's small numbers, large numbers, etc. So that's where the center is focused on currently.
Thank you, Prem. It's good to know you've got all the space, so you can play around with your space.
Correct.
For your launch as well of your size matters. So with the kind of vast size, you are able to scale down very easily. So you can have the numbers as they come in. That's good to know, and I think we have the various options in most of our events. So from the accommodation sectors like Mulu, the resort, and Damai Beach, a sea beachside resort, they're smaller in size, but then like we said, small is also sweet. People are opting for smaller numbers, and we know the trend currently, even when this pandemic is cleared or is deemed as over, there will still be people like myself, included, that we're still wary of traveling. So the numbers will be less, but the beautiful part, like what our minister just said, is that hybrid is here and it's going to happen. So those who are still worried or wary about traveling long distances, they can be a virtual delegate, and we might run even virtual tours for them, things like all this is going to happen. So Mr. Fadil, from your resorts perspective, what are you guys doing differently for business events?
Hi, Mom. Morning, everyone. Okay. Basically, what we are looking into is, of course, being assisted by Place Borneo on this green screen setup for competitors and all these things, and it can be hybrid as well. Then on the other hand, all these virtual tours of the resort is also in the pipeline of what we are actually coming up with. Now, aside to that, of course, if everybody remembers back in those days, what we are actually doing is we're trying to entice them to come over to of course I would say my place here at a lower scale. Yeah. For the past 6 months, we have been actually quite suffering, but with regards to occupancy as well as revenue. But then I suppose it's good that, as I can say it tickles our brains, and we actually have to do something towards the locals who are here frequently, rather than I'm not saying the foreigners don't come or close the international borders permanently, but no. But at least it gives us a chance to think out of the box. Otherwise, we won't be actually having what we're actually having now, right? Brainstorming and all these things. And the local travel agents we have blasted our gimmicks to them and all these things with regards to what we have. So of course, in pricing wise, it's we've got to be penny wise, pound foolish, whether we want them or we don't want them. That's another thing. So back to the question. Yeah, it's more towards, rather than have physical events, we will be able in time to come to set up all these hybrid conferences.
That's good. That's good to know. And what's good also is to mention that Damai Beach is in a very strategic location, because you have the Sarawak Cultural Village next to you. You have a new, I think, resort being refurbished, going to happen soon. So there's going to be a cluster. There's a golf course there, and there's beautiful tracks and trails. So Damai Peninsula will become a very attractive destination, not just for incentives, but you have the meeting rooms. So I'm very pleased to see. Damai was my former workplace. So I was there for quite a few years, and I lived in Cultural Village as well for a while. So I know the area quite well. And I think I also worked in Mulu. So that's why I'm very proud that we have all this. And we are able to combine a large enough conference that's allowed at a convention center, and then spreading out to offsite meetings. I think that's something that used to be done with other second tier destination, and so we are ready for it. And like Amelia said, we want to aim under our aspiration statement. We want to be the best second tier destination for MICE, for business events in this region. And I'm very very confident we can do it. So there we go. We've got all it takes. All it needs is for us. So my next question, the last one. How would we, convention center, association, government, convention bureau, accommodation providers, how would we as a group, an industry together, how can we move, how can we, what else can we do? If you have some tickling ideas in your mind, how can we move forward as a team, as a group? We are already, but in this challenging situation, conditions sometimes will hinder us in terms of maybe logistics and all that. But how can we go about that? Prem, would you want to start that first? And how can we as a group?
I think one good thing that we have for the Sarawak industry, we've always been very close knit. So whatever we do is always about communication. I think that's the most important thing. So let's say if I want to bring in an international conference, or even a conference from West Malaysia, I think it's so crucial for us to get in touch with BE Sarawak, to get in touch with the local associations and collaborating with everyone, coming out with the best plans, adhering to SOPs, and working together very closely to make sure the event is a success. I think we're very blessed in Sarawak to actually have these connections and this network that we have. And we constantly support each other. Like, how can I help you? What do you need? I value that collaboration that we have in Sarawak. I would like to see it continue for the next few months. I think it's crucial. And I also like the fact that we constantly support each other. We're very proud of everyone's success. I think that's the one advantage that we need to continue and strengthen further.
That's good. That's really good. I hear again association, and I think that's why what Natin has mentioned also, because associations play a very critical role in rejuvenating this business. We need the associations to understand that there is a light at the end of this business events tunnel, that there is support coming from the government, there's support coming from the industry, and not to think, or everything stopped happening, there's nothing else we can do. And I think each of us together, we are playing our part. Maybe Datin, you may want to talk about from an association, general association perspective. How can you move forward with all of us in this, with the government as a group, as an industry group? How can we move forward?
That's a very thought-provoking question. One of the other associations that I'm involved in is also Culinary Heritage and Arts Society Sarawak. So we've actually had an offer from Hong Kong, one of the venues that we had visited 2 years ago, to do something virtual. So of course, initially I was just thinking of more doing it at home with our heritage chefs, but now being reminded that BCCK is actually one of the best venues that we have in Kuching, very strong supporter of the associations. And then we have beautiful Damai right here in Kuching. So instead of just doing culinary presentations from home, maybe perhaps we can work together with the venues, with the hotels. Of course, Mr. He get funding from tourism to do the videos and all that. Had to slip that in. Yeah, so, but instead of just doing it from our own home kitchens, maybe now the possibility of working together with BCCK, getting their chefs to participate and going to Damai, bringing our chefs there and also working with the chefs that are at the hotel. And just to show to the world that, because it's basically our offer is from Asia Society, and that has an international footprint as well. They're based from the US to Europe and all that. So that would be another different way of just ensuring that Sarawak is always in the forefront, and that they're reminded that when the skies are open, this is the place they want to be.
Awesome, thank you. Don't forget Mulu. You can also do
Yeah,
a show.
I love Mulu.
I'm looking
Even though it
forward.
was my first time.
Yeah, I don't mind. So, you've
We'll
got
go
all
back, yes.
you don't need to do this from your home kitchen. You've got all the thinking out of the box, being in the open, cook out by the beach, cook out by the South China Sea,
That's right.
so you can have indoors, outdoors. So I would see business events Sarawak, I'm seeing SCB. I keep remembering a synergy for this industry. We need to have the Convention Bureau to put things together to make it happen. Like I remember, Amelia,
I think we might have lost Madam Gracie there. I think her line is a bit unstable. She disconnected. But I think what you wanted to ask was, and this is also one of the questions that we had, was actually with all these hybrid events or virtual events, there was one question, in fact, and I wanted to raise my hand to ask this question. How would we see the digital transformation of Sarawak to aid this? Because yes, we want to push some events to some of the remote locations like Mulu, Damai, but we also must make sure that we have enough digital capacity to run even a basic Zoom meeting and not be dropping in and out most of the time. So I'm not sure. I don't know if Emilia or Mr. Hisanki, would you have any thoughts on this, on how we can improve this facility for future organizers if they were looking at off the beaten trail locations like Mulu, even Barrio, if you want to run a hybrid event sort of? I think you're muted, Mr. He.
Okay, sorry for that. Now, Sarawak government is going ahead very dynamically on digital economy. That's why Sarawak is so sparse. I think it's the biggest state in Malaysia. And we really have a lot of challenges in terms of digital reach to the rural area. But rest assured, government has announced its series of plans to put up towers, to put up digital connectivity in various areas. Now, for example, like national parks, I think recently Sarawak Forestry Corporation has already upgraded the digital connectivity at some of the most popularly visited national parks. So Mulu is also on the way. So hopefully with that digital connectivity, we can actually extend the various venues where we can meet differently. So we look forward to that initiative by the state government on digital connectivity.
Thank you, Mr. He. Back to you, Madam Grace. You're back on already.
Yeah, sorry, I just got dropped out. I just heard a huge truck somewhere outside my. Um, so I'm just wondering if I could get a few views from Amelia. Amelia, if you could, like, like I said earlier, the Convention Bureau very much, it's a synergy that you will provide for this whole industry. Would you have a few words for that? Would you want to just add anything?
Thank you, Madam Gracie. Madam, may you repeat your question? It was not very clear just now.
Oh, what I meant was all of us as an industry, how are we moving forward? And I've heard, Prem has mentioned and Datin has mentioned from the association what they can do, and Mr. He from the government how we can, upgrade our facilities or infrastructure. I was saying that business events Sarawak very much is the gel. You are the synergy for this industry. We need you to be strong. We need you to put us all together. And I feel that we are very fortunate. I must say, compared to many other states, I'm very, very proud to say that as Sarawak, we are very much ahead there. How do you see moving forward as an industry? Is there a wish list from you? What can we do together, and how can we, propel ourselves?
Thank you so much, Madam. This time around, I'm gonna answer two things here. The first one from Madam Gracie, and I would like to end a bit on what Mr. He has shared earlier. So I'm gonna go with Madam Gracie first. Thank you so much, Madam. And I think, I believe that we all need to stay focused and continue to support each other, because it's no matter what, be it Sarawak and the ministry come up with, if we do not get the full support from the industry or vice versa, it's very hard for Sarawak to move forward. And we are really thankful for all the support that has been given so far. And, as you guys know, that we have the Sarawak Economic Action Council, where business event is one of the focus, for the tourism, besides the ecotourism. For now, I believe that, we need to support the SEAC and to ensure that, because in the SEAC, it's not only mentioned, what we're going to be in 10 years, but it also has a lot of strategic and tactical planning. So how we all will survive, for the next 2-3 years, if the pandemic situation is persists. But we also, I believe also, in order for us to continue working together, we would like to hear more from the industry. Communicate with us, let us know, and let's be, a bit more transparent and open in the communication. We want to hear what the industry wants to do also, and see how we can pick it up from there. And for association, we know that during this challenging time, and this is one I want to link back to what Mr. He has said earlier on the hybrid event. The revamping business event incentivized packages, the one that I have mentioned earlier, is because we want to make our support for hybrid event is more attractive, and to benefit conference organizer like Planet Borneo, and also our valuable client like the association. So that's all from me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amelia. So that sort of just give us an idea. We could go on for days talking about what we can do and all that. I think I caught on one very, very important, and I will repeat that. I've always done that to our clients overseas, that business events is one of the major aspiration statement in our state governments throughout Action Council. And we have a tourism master plan that's going to stretch for 15 years. Business events is in, and I believe that Sarawak is, Mr. He, that Sarawak is the only state that has put business events in the forefront of tourism. We have ecotourism, we have, business events is tourism. As you know, business events will drive and will generate tourism as a given product, So that puts us in the forefront as an industry. So all our industry partners were out there. We have a convention bureau, we have the ministry, and we have the strategic statement from the state that business events will be in the forefront, as a second tier destination. Mr. He, you have any more incentives to add to this before we wrap up?
Yeah, as rightly pointed out by Amelia and also Gracie, the government views business events as one of the important tiers in the tourism and business events industry. We will continue to develop the business events industry. Right now, we focus very much on conventions, seminars, so we will be moving into incentives. We'll be moving into exhibitions slowly. And also, I think all the partners, or I call strategic partners in the business events industry, from the government to Convention Bureau to the Association of Business Events, even down to the business events planners individually, and also probably we need to involve universities, the higher learning institutions, and so on. We need to handhold each other to create the necessary strategy for the business events industry to go forward. And hopefully, I think the pandemic will be over, but let's not be disappointed with the border control or the restrictions. We need to, like Place Borneo has been very creative, we need to think of out of the box, how to meet differently. And meanwhile, we look forward to a much brighter future when the vaccine is done, with the borders are open, and probably we are looking at green bubble travel between probably countries like Singapore and Brunei when things are turning out better. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. He. That is nice. Green bubble travel, I think that's something that we can look forward to. The vaccine's coming. Everything's turning out good, and I think one of the most, for me personally, one of the most important lessons from this COVID was that we woke up. We really wake up. We were no more doing things like traditional, I'm a baby boomer, okay? So this is not easy for me, but we woke up and we had to really think out and really explore what else can we do if we want to stay relevant, if you want to continue. Otherwise, close shop and be a baker, and I'm not a good baker. The MCO has taught me to make breads, but I don't think I'll make a good business out of it. It never turns out very well. So really, thank you very much for your input, and for our industry partners who are out there watching, listening. This will be recorded, and do understand that there are a lot of other initiatives that we can work on. So what happened yesterday was that after I finished talking to the minister and he gave his message, and then on the off chance, I asked him, I said, do you realize that we are second tier? Sarawak is considered, or Kuching, we're considered a second tier destination. And we always think that, oh, yes, not first tier, yes, second tier, like second class, But now, when you think about it, second tier is what we want to be. Until Kuching hits, I don't know how many million in population, but we've got the uniqueness and the beauty that we still have, and we must hold on to this. Like I said, our culture is diminishing. We need to enrich our content with as much of our culture, adventure, nature. So I asked him this question: what are your views? As a, I know we have our issues. We always told it's not possible. We can't bring in this logistics as an issue. So I'm going to part with you, say goodbye with a few words from our minister. I caught him off guard, and this is what he had to say. Thank you very much.
Well, we are not into mass tourism. Sarawak has got its own beauty that it can show to people, and we would love to see people, or those that come to Sarawak, are those who are able to appreciate what we have got to offer. We do not want those who would come in big numbers and spoil our nature, spoil our rivers, spoil our caves. We would want them to be those who would come down here and able to appreciate the diversity, the nature, the rivers, the caves that we have, and bring back to their own countries stories about how harmonious Sarawak is, how we've been able to look after our nature, our environment, our caves. These are the kind of tourists, these are the kind of people that we really welcome. Well, tourism is an important industry. We are not putting tourism as the only form of industry that we are going to survive on. We just want people to come down here and be able to appreciate that what we have done here.
Right. So thank you to all the panelists earlier. You heard them, their views on what they thought about meeting differently and just keeping the industry going, keeping each other going. We need to collaborate. We need to work together. It's not a one-man's job. I think it's all of us doing our part, flattening the curve, and yet still keeping the economy for business events going. And before we end, I've got a few people here on Facebook. I just like to say hello to them. We've got Jason Chew. This is one of our friends in the industry. I wouldn't say competitor, although he is actually a competitor, but he is a friend and we collaborate a lot on some of our events. And that's how we should work here. We should collaborate with everyone. And we've got Audrey as well. Hi, Audrey. And Didi all the way from KL watching us. And Fred Ho. Hi, Fred. And a lot of other people. I couldn't mention all your names here. So thank you, everyone. And if you missed the video earlier, it's going to be on our Facebook. It's going to be on our website and also on YouTube. Just watch out for that. And we'll be rolling out a few more activities after this or packages for how you can meet differently. And if you want to find out if you're an association, if you're an organizer, if you're a competitor or industry friend, just reach out to us and see how can we work together to meet differently and to keep our industry going. Just keep it going while we can. And until then, just reach out to us on email or on Facebook. And see you around soon, and stay safe, stay at home if you don't have to go out. So bye-bye, have a good day.